Hello from Dow Networks. In this video, we're going to go over the advanced forwarding feature in Dow Connect. As you will see, advanced forwarding differs from a simple follow me in various ways. As you watch this video, keep in mind that this is only one of many features available in this advanced online PBX control platform. We start by clicking the Add New Number button at the bottom of the page. From here, we now have the ability to enter a phone number where we would like to forward our calls to. Next, we enter a description to allow us to tell what this forwarding rule is designed to do. Next, we adjust the time for which the caller will hear the ringtone. In this case, we'll make it 30 seconds. To keep this first example simple, we won't place any time period restrictions on the rule. We'll simply go to the bottom of the page and save our work. We can now see the call forwarding rule we just created. This is a good time to review your call forwarding rule for mistakes. Should you find any, the Edit button is only a click away. Otherwise, you're free to delete it. In order to help us automate our call flow, we can edit this rule to add some time restrictions to it. From the Edit screen, we can see a time interval option as well as an icon to access the time period designation wizard. The first screen of the time period wizard allows us to select start and stop times for our forwarding rule. Once we've made our selection, we click the next button to bring us to the screen which allows us to select the days of the week on which we want our forwarding rule to be active. Here, we could choose to select all of the workdays by clicking and dragging, or just as easily we could have selected the workdays item from this list. The next screen allows us to select a numerical day of the month. We can also see that our rule is compiling in the window to the right. This allows us to check it on the fly. Leaving an option blank and clicking Next or Skip will leave that option completely open as shown here. These options make it possible to select a different forwarding rule for each 5-minute interval in a calendar year. Once we're done, we click Finish and Save, and we can see our rule in place. It's not only possible to constrain forwarding rules by time, as shown here, but we're also free to constrain them by ring strategy. This section allows us to determine whether or not we want the forwarding rules to be enacted randomly, in the order they're given, or simultaneously. Once our selection is made, we click Save Order at the bottom of the screen. Adjusting the ring strategy is critical when you have 2 or more rules that share the same time constraint, or 2 or more rules whose time constraints overlap. With Order selected as our ring strategy, the system will move from the top of the list to the bottom. Reordering calls in this list is quite simple. We move items up and down the list by simply clicking the arrows in the direction in which we wish the rule to move. Once finished, remember to click the Save Order button again. In this example, we've set up our system so that it will check and see if it's the 4th of July to satisfy the top calling rule first. If it's not the 4th of July, the system will automatically move to the next rule in line and look to see if the time and day of the week are satisfied. It'll continue through the list in this order until it finds a forwarding rule that it can use. Let's now take a look at an example where we might use a random ringing order strategy. We'll start by selecting Random as our forward ringing strategy. Once this is done, we'll create several rules just as we did before that all have similar, if not the same, time constraints. In this example, we have 3 forwarding rules that have no time restrictions placed upon them. Because we selected Random as our forward ringing strategy, the system will automatically randomly select one of these forwarding rules to forward the calls to until the call is picked up. In this way, over time, calls will be evenly distributed between these three phone numbers. In a more complex example, let's assume that we have three rules, such as the three on the top here, with one time constraint, and two rules, such as the two rules on the bottom of this list, with another time constraint. With this setup, and using random as our forward ringing strategy, for the first time period, calls will be evenly distributed between the first three numbers. Once that time period is passed and the second time period begins, calls will then be evenly distributed between the last two phone numbers. As you can see by this example, call forwarding rules and strategies can get very complex very quickly. For this reason, it's always a good idea to test them thoroughly before going live with them. So far, all of our examples have used actual phone numbers for forwarding. This system also allows you to forward to approved SIP endpoints. Using our current example, we'll delete the last rule and then modify the second to last rule to include a SIP endpoint. It's necessary for a system administrator to approve and install your chosen SIP proxy before you're able to access it. Once installed, you'll be able to select your SIP proxy from the list. When forwarding to a SIP proxy, it's important also to keep in mind that you'll need to set the correct transport protocol, either UDP or TCP. After we're done, we simply save, and we can see that our rule now contains the address of the SIP proxy we selected. The ability to forward calls to a SIP proxy means that you can send your calls to an alternate IP PBX. This allows you a great deal of flexibility in your call forwarding rules. As you can see, settings available in the advanced forwarding feature allow you to tailor your routing automation however you may need. Thank you for watching this video on the advanced forwarding feature of DAO Connect, a PBX platform by DAO Networks.